you are wondering where to stay in the Gambia, you are in the right place, Daikunda Village. 8-minute drive to Gunjur Sandwich. We have luxurious rooms for rental, fully furnished, swimming pools, restaurants, scissors, housekeeping, drinks and waters available, security protections, barbecues, equipment for also service, JBL wireless Bluetooth, official parties and birthday parties. For more info, contact Daikunda Village. And if you love this video, please don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, Free Diata.
Welcome to you and greetings wherever you are. We are back on Gunjur Online and the program Dialogue with the Youth. So with your man Ebrima Scattred, Janneh. Greetings once again, and we back in the online, and it is Gunjur Online, the platform that discuss issues that are affecting us as a people. And today we have a celebrated Gambian, an author and a satirist, who use humor sometimes, to describe or to portray the tragic comedy that are happening in the Gambia, the failure of institutions, the failure of leaderships, and Gambians need to celebrate each other, because this guy he's not looking for anything in the Gambia. Likewise, others, what he is, he's a patriotic, who is balanced in his analysis, he's not taking sides unnecessarily or emotionally charged, about issues in the Gambia. Balance them, analyze them, and based on facts, for the interest of the country, he will portray his decisions and his. So welcome to Dialogue with the Youth. So my brother, Mr. Ndow, and we are honored to have you here once again on Gunjur Online. Welcome and greetings to you.
Thank you very much, Ebrima. It's a pleasure to be back with you to have this not-ending conversation that we're having as Gambians, which I think is very necessary. So yeah, thank you very much, and I'm flattered by your words, and thank you for having me again.
Yes, Mr. Ndow, you deserve it, really. We don't flatter for the sake of it, I'm telling you, we've been opening and we have an eagle eye. Now we monitor things and see people who are balanced, people who are just not emotionally charged, but we are all looking for the betterment of that small country, Gambia. And that will be very good for all of us, if Gambia gets it right. And so definitely those who are not doing the right things, we will call them out. But those who are also giving their best, we will give them a pat on the back, and Gambians need to learn to celebrate our own, and that's what we are doing here, because many people are seeing your writings and all those things, but this is an honor to celebrate you, really, because you're doing fantastic jobs, for the homeland Gambia. Mr. Ndow, we know this is the time again, the political clatters, the political charters, the leadership issues are ranging in the Gambia again, and people are talking about all kind of names are coming to the fore, but we've been here before, and these political clatterings, ranging, sometimes we lose our guard, we don't look about the qualities that we need as a leader. probably that's why we are here, because we had the chance in 2016, and then we're talking of coalition. And again, there's a lot of rumor talking all over the place about coalition, factions within parties, outside established political parties, and all those things. But one thing that Gambians, I think, we're not focusing on is what leadership qualities do we want. It's not from somebody from the bigger tribe, a smaller tribe, somebody from somebody's tall, somebody is young, somebody's old.
Yeah.
Go and then tell us what are the qualities as a leader that you will be looking for. Since we catastrophically got it wrong last time, this time around one will be thinking our discussion will be what type of leader do we want, what qualities we know. But no, we are talking about age here, we are talking about somebody's adjectives, all kind of things are coming. What leadership qualities do you think you want to see for a coming leader that you are expecting to rule the Gambia?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's a very interesting question, and given our historical background, we've really, in my view at least, not have had like a good leader with a vision. I was just on the For the People by the People show, and I just talked about Jawara being there for 30 years, and we have not still realized, because I think 30 years is enough for any leader that has a vision to manifest that vision. But that wasn't the case, because we make leadership about us, right, instead of about the common good. So people get into leadership just so that they can enhance themselves, and then it becomes this nepotism. The people that support you get there, so you negate the interests of the country and just look out for the interests of the very few. People can argue that, well, that's the case in America, and that's it. But America is big enough; they have the resources and they have the institutions to guard against some of the failures that we experience all the time, because we are still a developing nation. So for me, a leader has to have a vision, and they have to be able to inspire people to help them realize that vision. And by inspiring people, I mean by looking for the right talent to bring them on board. They have to have empathy, and they have to be able to really bring out the best in people, instead of looking to be in power just so that you can suppress people and have people worship you and sing praises. We're singing praises of our politicians every day, but you go to Gambia and you look at the situation, you're like, what are these people singing and dancing about? There's garbage everywhere, there's employment issues, there's crime. So what are we celebrating our leaders for, right? So I always make the arguments that the issue we have is that people that are leading us don't know how to govern, and we, the people they are governing, don't know how to be governed. So unless we change our mindset and see leadership differently, and look for leaders that are going to inspire us, we're going to continue to have this leadership crisis that we're in.
Yeah, and in your Facebook post, you said, we are quick to say deus and for president, without vetting their leadership skills and qualities.
Right.
And I don't know whether Gambians understand the vision that you are talking about, because if you talk about vision, somebody will say, for example, Barrow is building the road, all those things. Janneh build the I-20 whatever 22nd,
Right.
July 22nd, and some of the roads. Now when Yaya was here, the roads were built and all those things. And now Barrow is chasing he's beating his chest and said the road building, the road network that I started within 7 years, both Jawara and so to me. It seems Gambians generally don't understand, or many people don't understand what this vision is, to inspire the people and all those things. Can you delve a little bit into the vision that you are talking about, and the inspiring, because what are you inspiring them of?
Right.
What do you want? What direction do you want them to go, or the country want to go? Can you just portray on that a little bit?
Yeah, so when I talk about vision, I'm just not talking about something that you're gonna do in the 5 years, like you just said about this. Oh, in if 7 years I did this. When you talk about vision, you want to look at, okay, where do I want this country, right? These people that I'm leading, where do I want to see their lifestyle and their development in the next 20, 30 years, right? Rwanda is developed because Kagame had a vision when he came in, right? And within less than 20 years, that vision materialized because he had a clear roadmap, right, of where he wanted to take the country, and he had already mapped it out. That's why he was successful, right? So we have here in the West, they have plans for the next 20 years because they know the population is going to grow. They know, they've identified everywhere where schools are going to be, population is going to be grow, and at what point do they come in and put a school there to cater for that population growth, build roads, expand the freeway because they know the population is going to grow. Right now, look at that Combo area, Serakunda. It's always all congested because there was no vision to plan for the population growth, right? As Gambians, we already know that people are migrating from rural areas to the Combos, but we never took the time to analyze any data about how many people are coming every year and what do we need to do to cater for the next 10 years, because now they're coming, let's say in the thousands, let's say 10,000 a year, right? So in the next 10 years, we're talking 100,000 or something like that. So how do we prepare ourselves to be able to accommodate and build enough infrastructure, build enough roads, and provide services to meet the needs of those 100,000 people that are going to come in the next 10 years? That what vision is all about. It's not about schooling wise. And right, we know that technology is changing. Life it's at a fast speed. We need to look at these things and say, okay, the way of teaching our children should also change, because the old way of teaching, textbooks and stuff, is really no longer working, right? Because if you look at programs like the STEM program, they are creating programs to teach kids at a very young age about life, real life situations. That way they can learn from, because we all have information on our fingertips right now. So if something is happening right now, I don't have to wait to read it in a book or in the newspaper 10 days down the line. I can either see it on video whilst it's happening. So we're learning as we go, and we need to take this skills because the information is readily available. Right now, we don't have to memorize facts like we used to, because it's unnecessary. I can, with my phone, I can just look at facts. And you need to teach kids how to seek information, how to analyze information, and how to curate information, because that's where the world is heading, right? So we have to think about this ways of teaching our children, because like I was just saying, it's all about the mindset, and having a vision is also a mindset, because if you have that mindset, then you want to look at the trend and the trajectory of that trend, right? And you do things to try to meet that trend at the peak of it, when you finally get there, when the trend finally surfaces, because we're all seeing how technology is changing, right? So we need to also be able to have a vision to be able to adapt to the changes of technology, how we are going to educate our kids. The old ways of teaching kids in the classroom is almost like gone. So they have now what they call it, like an inquiry approach of teaching, where students themselves would identify the area of interest, and the teacher only guides them, help them, show them where to get the information, because this is what's going to trigger the curiosity in the children. So I think because we are taught what to think and not how to think, we struggle when it comes to vision, because vision requires critical thinking. So, but if you're just told, oh, this is this and this, in Gambia, the schooling, we're just told how to think, right? And that also reflects in how our political leanings. Like people join parties because their father was a member of that party. And so they're always following about, they're told, oh, you have to go join this party because your mom was a member of this party or your dad was this party. So people are not allowed to think for themselves. And we are not we have to be critical in a way. We don't question anything, right? Anybody that tells us something, we believe it. So that's why we're having a problem when some of these things are being questioned, like let's say FGM. Because we've never questioned it, right? We're just told, oh, this is our culture, so let's not question it. And everybody is started questioning it. Oh, you're against the culture, or you think you're not African now, or you're throwing away your beliefs, because we're not thinking critically. If you believe in something and there is new evidence that changes, or new facts that show up, you should be able to change your way of thinking. That's what evolving means, right? Many things that used to happen back in the 1800s are not happening now because human knowledge has grown. We've got new tools to discover new information, to know that certain things were detrimental to us. It's okay, cultures to evolve. We just have to be able to evolve. And I think if we don't allow ourselves to evolve, it's going to be hard to have a good leader because we are still stuck on that old leadership thing that was here before during Jawara with no vision. We just chase them and clap for them. We get a manu bottle and we're satisfied with that. Right? We vote for them the next time they come around and give us some more rice. And our lives don't improve. Our education system hasn't improved. I think it's worse now than before when we were there going to school, right? Because now if I see some of these graduates, right, I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, how did they even graduate? So vision is not just, and the leader has to have empathy and be able to inspire people and, give people responsibility, give them a chance, make them bring out the best of them. So for me, that's what we need as far as leadership is concerned.
Thank you, Mr. Ndow. You talk about critical thinking. I think that is something that is lacking because I was listening to Barrow and when he met with the Banjul and Gambian Islamic leaders, and he talked about somebody asked him about what his priority is. He said infrastructure, or nothing else. But that's easy to build, and the buildings are very temporal most of the. It doesn't involve thinking, but to think, to shape people's beliefs, to shape people's attitudes, to direct the country from work to good to bad, those are think, and it requires a lot of thinking critically, and that is not happening. But you talk about our lack of understanding of leadership is why people quickly become kufang, and feel entitled when they are in leadership positions. And I don't know, because people sometimes don't read you seriously. I think I read you because you will write one sentence and it means a lot. It will embody almost everything. That's our problems are. And somebody will see this and say this is Barrow, Jawara, or Yaya. No, but this is Gambian. At any level,
at any level, yes,
at any level, and this has an impact because if we as an individuals are like this, it will be very difficult, and the same individuals surround the president, whoever it is the president, then it will be difficult because we don't understand leadership. We think Jibril, Angel Jibril will come down from whatever anywhere and teach us about leadership. So Gambians believe in that. We believe in God will come, inshallah, and things are not changing. Even with our prayers, even with our inshallahs and all those things, this will happen. Nothing seems to change. In fact, we are even going back. Yeah. But Mr. Ndow, these arguments might be those who didn't travel, those who didn't have the formal education settings. We get the so-called educated people. But if you see our government, most of the people around the state house, around the big position, those who are embezzling, those who are driving the country, those who are, pitting the Gambians together against each other, these are all people who are educated, quote unquote. These are people who were in your America there. These are people who were in England here. We were all discussing about the same things and all those things. These are people who've been China, Dubai, all over the place and get all kind of education and skills and all those things. Some of them even at international level.
All right.
Do they understand the leadership that we are talking about, or is it what you refer to as dishonesty, greed, or deceit? Can you go over this and give your analysis? Why are Gambians, the so-called, because those who we think don't understand these leadership things and all those things, majority of them have no stake. They don't have anything in government, in running the government. They are might be in their furrows, in their garden, vegetable, and all those things. But the small group that we rely on, the educated, the travel, the aware, those are the people who are destroying the country that we call the Gambia. What informed this? Is this cultural, or what you said? Dishonest, greed, and deceit. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's both. Most Gambians don't, even though we travel, because it's one thing to travel. You can travel and not be exposed, right? So for exposure to happen, you have to be open-minded, all right, to be able to see things differently. I could be, there are a lot of Gambians that live in the UK or in here. They only operate within the Gambian circle, right? So all their activities, everything is within the Gambia. So they're not learning anything new. So that's why even our problems in Gambia, the gossip and all this is happening here, because we just come and we just allow ourselves to live in this Gambian box, right? So we do not allow ourselves to go out there, mingle, look at different perspectives and allow yourself to grow outside of this Gambian thing. Because we think that if we grow and evolve and start now have a different thinking, we're going to be criticized and say, you're not Gambian anymore, you're abandoning all your culture. Or we live in a global world right now, right? So like I was just saying, a Nigerian born anywhere in the world, whether they're even third generation, are proud to be Nigerian, even if they can speak the language. They do not care. After, I am Nigerian, but they've never been to even Nigeria, right? So you have to be proud of who you are, but yet still be able to look at the world differently and grow and adapt, and not just live in this mindset of Gambian, right? So that's why we're happening. People come here, you can get the degree by just going through the program and doing the work, right? But I think to become educated, you have to be able to transcend the knowledge, right? And I mean transcend knowledge by using that knowledge to be able to create something and to be able to, because we have engineers. Let's say an engineering person gets a degree in engineering, right? So unless you can take that knowledge from that engineering and work on a product to take the product to the next level, right? Make it more efficient. That's transcending the knowledge. So you've learned about engineering, but you've used that knowledge to see how you can make something better. But what we have in Gambia is people just go get degrees just to go back home and get jobs and get, being called boss or being called, and they started going around, people start worshiping them. So that massages the ego, right? So, and the Gambian likes to be praised. So that's why when they go back, they get into this leadership, they're getting praised and they're getting kufang, they're getting cause, they can date any girl they want, because that's why the reason why they go, so that they can go and be almost like a gigolo in town. You become a boss and you start having girlfriends all over, side chicks everywhere, because that's what we saw growing up, right? So leadership has to be about service instead of about self. And that's what the problem we have. And sometimes traveling doesn't really matter. You have to allow yourself to be able to grow as a human being and as a person. And it is in that growth where living life is. It's not about these material things that go building a house and you die, you leave the house, and then they start fighting over the house.
Yes.
Right? So a lot of people, because life is about growth, it's about increasing your knowledge, it's about trying to leave something that's going to benefit society. At least for me, that's how I see it, right? We all live here, but we are in this competition of who has more material than the other. That's how we see success. So if we are told that that is success, oh, I am from a poor background, I'm from the village, so the only thing where I can gain respect is by building a house in the Combos, right? That's going to be my validation as a human being, instead of your validation being growth, knowledge, and your contribution to society. So, and for us, I think the reason why we're having poor leaders, it's because of that mindset that it has to be about us. Having a good job is what's going to validate us. Having a car or building a big house in Gambia, even if you cannot afford it, that's what's going to. So we are always looking for validation outside, and I think that's a big problem for us. So and it's manifested in our leaders as well. They're getting there. They think it's about themselves. Barrow hasn't really done much, but he lobbied to get a good retirement package, that presidential bill that was passed. So now we have to be paying him after he leaves, provide cars, maintenance of the cars, feed him for what? Right? So what has he done to deserve that package? Because we, the people, made the leadership about him, and he also made it about himself. So unless we try to get out of that mindset, leadership is going to be a continuous issue for us as a people.
Thank you, Mr. Ndow. Once again, our viewers, wherever you are, we are here with a celebrated American-based Gambian author, and very, very intelligent man when he go through his writings, because, he sum up, the issues the everyday issues that Gambian go in humor and normalize there like other writings, but, if you read the writings, you will see what he is doing and kind of, making a fun out of our issues. These are really, really, really strategic. And these are very important writings, because there's no insult there. Everything is civilized, but it encompasses a lot if you go through it and understand. So we are very, very proud of you, Mr. Ndow, and it's unfortunate that such people are all outside the Gambia. And Gambia is losing brain drain anyway, because I read a little bit about your dad, whom you are very, very proud of, and you should be really, and the impact that he made on the ground. No amount of our siphoning money to Gambia will do those impacts anyway. And it seems, as you say, we are competing. How much do we send? I'm from Gunjur. I was in a very, very poor house. Now I can build a massive 6-bedroom, even though I'm struggling to finance that house there.
Finance that house, yeah.
I'm really, really struggling. It's a big burden, to finance those houses in the Gambia, and might be once a year I go there. Normally, nothing more than a month, right. So it is a big burden. But it is sad anyway. Greetings to Maria Majuare, and a very, very good follower of Gunjur Online. Barrow didn't even dream of becoming president. Clearly, he didn't dream of making Gambia better. Mr. Ndow, and there's a lot of coalition talking going on and all those things, but it seems we all forget about coalition 2016.
2016,
yes. You will be thinking now we will digest, and come and do a post-mortem and talk about, what went wrong then. Why didn't we get it right? Why are we talking about another coalition less than 10 years? Why are we celebrating Senegal, for taking a Democrat there? Because Macky Sall, yes, people can argue he's a dictator, but he's not Yaya Jammeh anyway.
Right.
But we fought and peacefully took Yaya Jammeh out. And with all the political capital that we have, for somehow we squander it to the extent that nobody is proud of what we did in 2026 anymore, because of, the self-interest, the political gerrymandering, is about the politics, the ethnicity, the religion, and all those things, that's what we are. and the coalition issues is coming from the diaspora, and yes, diaspora is sending a lot of money and all those things, but most of the line they are very, very active online, and what we are not doing very well is to tell people this and this and this is what is happening, or this is what we failed, this is where we fail. Let's talk about it, and so do you think diaspora can do better by not only talking most of the time, as you mentioned, politics, ethnicity, religion, and entertainment. And when we are talking about this, is all about the false side of it. When it is entertainment, is about two musicians that are having a problem that's not even significant, and that's what we pick all out. Right. And most of the fighters are mostly in the diaspora, because they are the ones that can, the megabytes, the Wi-Fi's, almost free there for them. Right. They can afford it. When it comes to religion also, even though the Imam Fatis are doing all kind of things there, now, because Janneh is not there anymore, because Janneh time we didn't have. But those who are doing the insulting and the fightings are mostly in the diaspora here, the foot soldiers and all those things. When we come to ethnicity also, every little thing we attach, ethnicity to it, from this tribe, from next tribe, and all those things. When you see a typical Gambian, you will, my grandparents are Fullers here, my grandfather, grandparents came from Sierra Leone with the surname of Scattred, Janneh, and I have families in Banjul who cannot speak Mandinka. For some reason, part of the family went to Gunjur, they can speak Mandinka. It's just mixture of everything. Yeah. But any little thing is a tribal issue. When we are talking about politics, we are not talking about how we can develop our politics, but politics that is going to bring people together to fight each other, to use politics as a weapon against each other. This is what we do. That and mischance in 2026. Are you enthusiastic about 2026 coalition? Citing from what we experienced in 2026, and why we didn't discuss issues that made or fail in 2026, but we are talking about another coalition without. There's nothing wrong about with that, but I think it might be, we should discuss more, so that the same mistake that we had in 2026, we didn't have those. But yes, go ahead. What is your thought about this? About the failures from 2016, and it seems we didn't learn anything. Those who, the very people who were fighting, or most of the people, or some of the people, now join the bandwagon of another failed leadership, who is doing the same thing that we fought around. We didn't discuss this, and we didn't digest them that properly, and now we are talking about 2026. How do you think that thing is going on? Give us your thought.
Yeah, to rectify any issue or any problem, right? You have to accept that the problem exists, or it happened, failure happened, and then so it is that acceptance that's now going to allow you to be able to dissect the problem, right? So and the failure, we all know what happened in 2026. Why the coalition failed, right? But those who engineered the failure never accepted it. It's just this constant denial. So if you're denying that you have a role in playing in that failure, that failure will never be resolved, because you have not accepted that there was a failure, even though we all know that there was a failure, because the evidence is everywhere, because it was happening in real time, because of technology. We all, regardless of where we lived, right, we're all following it. We're all seeing their daily meetings, the press conferences. So we all know what happened, right? So we have to accept that this is what happened, and those who participated in the failure should take responsibility, right? So unless you take responsibility of something, you cannot correct it. And that's where honesty comes in. And that's where that deceit part comes in, because we already know that what happened, how it happened, when it happened. So you cannot just we cannot sweep it under the rug, because I think that's a big Gambian problem, this maslaha thing. It also happens in families. Like something happens, they never want to address it. They'll say, oh, you guys are all related, and then we sweep it under the rug. But if you do not address the issue, it's going to surface again, because it has to be addressed, it has to be put to rest, and people have to accept responsibility and their role and promise to correct the behavior, right? These are just simple facts that everybody knows. So I'm not inventing any facts. This is just that everybody knows in any institution, in any organization, in any relationship, whether it be romantic or otherwise, issues have to be discussed. They have to be interrogated and say, okay, this is what happened, this is what went wrong. Everybody has to accept responsibility before we can move on. We cannot just ignore that, oh, nothing happened, or people just deny it. Just because you deny something doesn't mean that it never happened, right? Because denial is the first line of defense to anything. Like even if I was caught, people get caught shooting somebody and they deny it, because they go to court, they say, oh, not guilty. If you say not guilty, you are denying it. They have you on video shooting someone, right? But your first line of defense is to deny something. But just because you deny it doesn't mean, how many people deny they didn't do something and end up getting convicted because the evidence was there to show it. So unless we accept that this failure that happened and the people that participated in the failure promise to correct it and say, I failed such and such, it was my bad. I mean, life is about failure, and that's how we learn, right? Even on our individual lives, right? Like when we came here from Gambia doesn't have a credit system, right? You come here, you don't know how to navigate. The first years, you're failing, they give you credit. You know, oh, shoot, they gave me money to spend. I go spend, not knowing how am I even going to pay it because they gave me money. But you learn because you failed in the initial thing. Then you say, oh, shoot, this is what I've been doing now. My credit score is low. I need this credit score to be able to do certain things in this country, right? So you examine what happened, and then if you're wise, you change your behavior on how you handle your finances and the credit that's available to you, because the system will punish you if you don't. And I think Gambia, that's what happens. We do not punish people that do wrong. We celebrate them and we sing them. That's why they keep doing the same wrong ever again. We keep calling people hypocrites or political prostitutes or blah, 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 you know, and they come back and do it the same and we clap for them. Like, if you don't want him, hey, I know he betrayed you, but give me to him. He will bring me a little bit followers and he will make some noise. I'll take him. And then he betrays you, right? But you saw what happened, right? But it is because of that self-interest. Right? And you think that, oh, he failed them, he's not going to fail me. And then they fail you. So we have to accept responsibility. And I think that's what the issue that we have as Gambians. Unless we accept responsibility and learn how to correct this responsibility and be able to move and build. And it has to be, we cannot have a conversation devoid of honesty. It will just be noise, right? We are humans. Mistakes do happen, right? Accept the mistake. That's how growth happens, right? America has done a lot of bad out there. Every country has done a lot of bad out there, right? They had the depression, right? It was a failure. But what did they do? They examined that depression and the failure and what didn't go right, right? And then they work to correct it. And that's what we need to do as well as a people, also, as you know, in order to be able to get out of all this mess that we're in.
Yes, so I agree with you. I think you know,
on an honest footing, you know, everybody has to accept responsibility, and we have to look at the interest of the nation and not the interest of a group or a political party or some individual.
Yes, I think, yes, I was reading a book, you know, the blunders of our government in UK. You will not believe the amount of blunders that are happening.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, if you see UK is successful and all about simple blunders that you think, no, it cannot happen in the UK.
Right.
Those are what the book tabulated. But the whole issue is people are learning, they are taking responsibility, learning to correct those things, and nobody is saying, yes, you did that blunders, but you are my brother, then we will support you no matter what,
Right.
So Melissa says, the worst people in the Gambia are those who claim to be educated. They have no fear in God. Simple. Corruption is accepted, as a normal way of living in the Gambia, which is true. Brother Ndow, I think this is so important, because if we are looking into the qualities of a leader, we vetting that individual and saying what their leadership skills are, or is, so probably, and we will not have selected Barrow to lead the Gambia, but people are charging emotionally, political party, gerrymandering, juxtapositioning here, regional issues and all those things, and be blinded. We all say we love Gambia, but I don't think we are doing it in the right way, because if not, probably these leadership qualities and the vetting process need to go rigorously, so that we can have a better Gambia, because without a better leader, we will not have a better Gambia. But I think you excel, Aji Aramsek, to come out and take responsibility.
Yes.
He said, she apologized to the Gambians for selecting Barrow. So that means the vetting and the leadership qualities were not there. It was maybe based on he's closer to me, he's from my party, he's from my deeds, these functionalities, the couple of things you mention all the time. So that's a good start, and I really agree. We all need to come out and praise Ajayam's sake, to come out openly and said, I got it wrong. I am one of the guys. That tells a lot. That tells there's no discussions, there's no vetting, there's no leadership skill, and all those. So that's very good. So
and that is why Adiyam Soka was so emotional, because she knows that she was wrong. And she wholeheartedly accepted, because she has seen the results of her bad decision. Right? That's what taking responsibility means. Right? We cannot correct what happened. Right? But the fact that she was emotional, she could barely talk, because her conscience, right, made her felt that uncomfortable, because she knows exactly the repercussions of that decisions that she made, which was clearly partisan, what it had amounted to. And she said, Adama Barrow daf madaha, right? She said that. But because Adama Barrow himself knew that your decision was not genuine, like he knows, right? That's why he was showing you that disrespect, because he saw that he knew that you were not even sincere. Because Adama Barrow himself said that he was not a good leader, he doesn't know how to govern, and he was just going to do his 3 years. These are all things that he himself said. So he himself knows that he wasn't a good leader, and we were just going to use him for a transition period. So you selecting him and then now advocating for him to stay for 5 years instead of the 3 years, basically inspired him to be able to now kick you out. Right? So that's what honesty means. Like, even I'll rather be honest and be respected rather be respected than be feared. Because being feared, when people get over the fear they have over you, that's it. Right? Look at Yaya Jammeh. At the end, everybody was saying like the fear was no longer there, because you can only push it for so long. But if people respect you, even if they disagree with you, that respect remains. Right? So we are in this favoritism type thing just for personal gain. And it will always keep backfiring because of the lack of honesty and the deceit that comes along with that.
Yeah, and we are talking about accountability. In essence, this is kind of an accountability.
This is kind of,
for our mother, and because she is crying in front of everybody. That means she regretted,
She regretted,
and she openly, internationally came out and said, we got it wrong.
Right.
So this should be a foundation for us.
Yes.
So not
I'm our politician. Yeah.
Exactly. For Mr. X is fair in complexion. Mr. X is tall. Mr. Y is these and all those things. He should be a leader. At some point, this is all of us. At some point, I was so convinced with the rhetoric of Ebrima when we were before 2016, when the struggle was going on, and he was in Ghana. At some point, now I was telling people Ebrima will be a good president for the yes, I convinced myself.
You felt
all was so diplomatic and so nice.
Yeah.
His talkings were all disciplined and everything was going smoothly. And I was thinking, no, I think this guy will be a president. But how long I am very long. So,
yeah, because I think that's what we do as Gambian. We just tend to like somebody, even if they have a bad attitude and they've exhibited that they have bad attitude. We've seen people insulting people, like publicly insulting people, but yet we want to put them in leadership position and expect them to deliver, right? If I don't have any power, I'm not elected to anything, and I'm out here insulting people and being all disrespectful, what's going to happen when I actually have power?
Yes, definitely.
Right? So how people behave, you look at their character, right, and see how they behave. That should tell you whether this person is qualified to be a leader or not, regardless of whether you are in the same party with them or not. So this is what we need to be looking at. We need to be critically looking at people, their leadership skill, how they've shown it, have they led anywhere before, right?
Yes.
So we have people just taking off from America or from UK. They just had regular jobs like I did. They've never been in a leadership position in those jobs. They go to Gambia, they are taking and then giving a ministerial post. Right? How do you expect them to lead? They don't have a history of leading, right? They just went to school and just had a regular job here, and then maybe they're working at some company or some, but at the very low level or whatever, because sometimes it is we over exaggerate things. Like if I'm here working as a nurse, like people in Gambia, they'll say he's working at a hospital, oh, he's a doctor, right? So they exaggerate things. So if I come here, I go to Gambia, I'm a nurse, but then I go there, Gambians think I'm a doctor, right? So we have all these people that just are fraudulent. They will misrepresent themselves just to get in. So we have to be able to vet people, right? And say, hey, okay, we know you used to live in America, right? Like if somebody say, oh, they want me for president, right? Okay, I'm not going to subject myself in that thing, because I do not have that type of leadership skills, right? Even though I am at work, I manage some people and stuff like that, but that leadership role is totally different from managing a country's economy, healthcare system, and all this. But now, if I were to go to Gambia and then I start working and gaining experience and being put in different places so that I get a better idea, then, right, but you cannot just unplug me here and take me to Gambia and make me a minister. I'm not even going to allow that, because I know my shortcomings, right? But I'm not just going to get into it for the kufang's sake and for people to call me honorable, because I'm being dishonest to myself. So for that reason, I do not want to fail my country just because I felt that I wanted to be dishonest. I'm not going to do that. I'm not looking, that leadership role is not going to validate me as a human being, right? So it in a sense, what it will do is expose me, right, as a bad leader, because I was not prepared for that role, and I am not going to take that role just because it's offered to me, knowing that I am not prepared for the role. And that's the problem we have in Gambia. We think being in a position validates you. It's what's going to give you respect, right? Because people are going to come and start praising you, and you are my employee. Why should I be praising you and dancing, singing and dancing behind you? For what? You work for me. Whoever you work for in the UK, do you go there and they call you honorable and they sing and dance for you? No. Right. They hold you responsible for what you're doing. If your job is not right, then you're going to say, hey, Ebrima, this project is not going right, blah, blah, we need you to correct this and blah, blah, blah. They hold you responsible, You don't come there and they start celebrating and worshiping you and giving you all these allowances and all this money. So we've taken leadership and made it a personal thing, and the people, like I keep saying, like the people that are governing us don't know how to govern, and we that are being governed don't know how to be governed. So unless we understand the leadership, the role of a leader, and the role of us as a people to hold our leaders responsible to make sure that they deliver the promises that they were elected on, right? So they can promise everything, and then we elect them, and then they sit there, they don't do what they promise. We're not going to question that.
No.
If you question that, it's because you hate them, or it's because, you are jealous because abale fututa, what kind of rubbish is that, right? So everybody else buy the fututa, so they could be driving the BMWs and getting public funds and going to seminars, and sometimes they even go to seminars that is not going to benefit them because they just want the per diem instead of giving the next guy a chance. So managing directors or MDs, they call them in Gambia, because everybody is obsessed with title. A conference comes in, is for a junior guy, right? But because there is per diem in it, that's not going to benefit them because they are at a higher level. It's for the junior people. But they will take that, and then they will go to the conference and not even attend the conference because they want the per diem. So they are not even inspiring people next to them to grow. So that's what leadership is about, to inspire others. If you're a good leader, you give this other person a chance to inspire them to be able to go to that conference or to that workshop or to that seminar and be able to grow, right? You inspire them, and that growth is going to translate into something positive in their job in moving the country forward. So unless we start seeing leadership as service, as a sacrifice, right, then we're going to have issues, because we always see it as a way of self-enhancement, like honorable this, honorable that. There are a lot of people that were doing absolute horrible things during the Yahya Jammeh regime. They are still walking around town. Everybody knows what they did, but people see them and they're still calling them honorable.
Yes. And we are still celebrating them. We still celebrate all over the place.
Yeah, they're all over the place. So this is the issue we have. So it all comes down to the mindset of the people.
Yeah. Mr. Ndow, you Gambians talk a lot, especially online, on things that are not beneficial, especially to the country. Most of them are dominated by politics, as you say, religion, discussions, ethnicity, and people are entitled that, God has chosen them. They are going to the Janneh. Anybody else is not going to go, So, and Gambia is a special place that is, special, especially the heart of gods, thinking, that God endow Gambia. Gambia is like nothing else because we are Muslims, with all these things that are happening here, the Bafutu things, which is something ridiculous, to the extent that because wherever we are rushing to, we are killing ourselves to go and get money. So people don't get married sometimes, and they come together and build families and all those things, and they are very, very, very successful. Probably hereafter they will also be successful, and we are not talking about those, things that matters for us, as you mentioned: education, agriculture, manufacturing, innovation, youth employment. You don't see, we mention them sometimes, but to see a panel to discuss these things, how can we do this? How can we in Gunjur be innovative? Because we have fish land, we have a lot of fish in Gunjur,
and a fertile land.
Exactly, and talk about how can we do within ourselves to be innovative so that we can use our fish and everything else, to create employment. We are not innovative. We don't talk about these things, until a few small boys from China came and the golden lead and take the chance. They say, these people are sleeping here. With all the money they have, these young boys came, 2 young girls and 2 young boys. They are 20, late 20s, maybe they are in their 30s now. they came with this, makeshift, golden lead, to get fish oil and fish powder and all those things and create all those things because we were sleeping. We are not talking about this. What we are talking about is about tribalisms and all those things, And I like this, because you said that these are not sustainable. These are the sustainable pathway. You mean the education, the agriculture, the manufacturing, the innovation, talking about things sometimes, and out of poverty, but not hulo ak sagante, So so that means we are huloing all unnecessarily, and we are saganting each other, even though we are very, very, very close, and that takes a lot of space. That takes a lot of time and a lot of energy of Gambians, because this is it's so difficult to come Facebook Live and sweating because you are insulting people. You insult, you insult to the extent that you run out of vocabulary. That's really, really, really crazy. So probably, especially the diasporans, can we not build the forums and talk about agricultural innovative, talk about what can we do with our wetland, the westlands, the arable land for our rice and all those things. What can we do it? Probably somebody somewhere will see and see these are the potentials of the Gambia and they can come and help us. But we are not doing this. So these are worrying things, Mr. Ndow, and I'll combine these things on corruptions because you say anywhere there is revenue, guys, Yange Sacha, and seamlessly doing it too. Why are our people feeling so entitled to public fund? I guess this is what happened when you have a culture of Sacha. Konga, we are celebrating Sacha at Tapale, at Tapale. So yung guy and yun kan nirek, so yes, but the humor thing about these writings is fantastic, really. But what it entails, in one sentence, it's just everything that we are. So this cultural thing, we can talk about this cultural thing because this Sajante, we celebrated Jifit. Wherever you take that gift and give it to people, and anybody who's did this, as far as he build a small mosque or jata in a small corner, that man above Tutale, that man is his hero. That man is somebody who's the mother suffered when he got married. The mother suffered a lot. That's why now, and he is saturating our public fund. Because before his unemployment, before getting that employment, he has nothing. Less than 5 years, he started building mansions and mansions worth of millions of millions of them. And this Sagante, these are, is this part of us? This is what we are, because it's manifesting now. These things don't come from nowhere. People Sagante, like nobody's, not Gunjurian, but probably Sukutarian. Go ahead, is this cultural thing, this such, because we accept this. Even if for me, for example, I will take example, if my brother is employed by Barrow tomorrow and everybody in Gunjuri in our compound will be drumming, we are fine now because our Mr. X or Mrs. Y is now in Barrow's and what is expected? There will be a big, because my uncle was a minister, Beba Jata, then.
I remember my Bajata.
When you go to his office, that's the longest queue you will see. So when they send Bemba, he failed. I said, we made him fail. Anytime, even 5 o'clock, the queue that you will see in Central Bank will even be the same. Queues and queues, and until it goes round and round and round queues, just going. And sometimes the poor man, when you go there, he will just have his 2 suitcases. Anybody who comes and he pulls something and give it to them. Give it to them. And that's public funds. And that's public fund, Mr. Ndow. So these things, these Sagantes and all those things, they are not dropping from sky. This is us culturally, and these Tapales and all those things is us that are doing this, and our families. And anytime it doesn't affect our families, because we see people who are accused of corruption, people will come Facebook Live and insult anybody who said they are doing these things. How can we go about to debunk, to take out these cultural norms that are really, really bad? They are not Islamic, they are not civilized, they are agrarians. but we are still doing it, and these are what is destroying our country.
Yeah, but that's what I keep saying. We keep saying that, oh, Gambia is a Muslim country, Allah this, Allah that, right? But Imam Fati is preaching Allah, but he knew what Yahya Jammeh was doing, right? He justified the killing of the mile 29. So you cannot come tell me about Allah, right? Focus on religion alone is not going to move the country, right? Tribalism is not going to move the country. Entertainment is not going to move the country, right? But this is what we have bogged ourselves down into while everybody else is passing us by. Gunjur is a fertile land. It's in the coastline. You can grow whatever you want. It is fertile. There's fishing, anything, right? But what are people doing? They are getting 150,000 or 200,000 to send their kids to the back way. They are not prepared for life. They are not educated. They are not sophisticated enough to even live in Gunjur, let alone in Italy. So you put them in these boats. If they make it alive, now they get to Italy. In a society where they can barely function, if you cannot function in Gunjur, how are you going to try to function in Italy with no education? And then, so we have a lot of Gambians in the streets, sleeping in the streets. Of course, there will be some that will have an opportunity and do something. That's in every case. But we are talking about majority here. We are exporting our youths unprepared, not educated, no skill, right? And we invest all this money to risk their lives. How many kids have died? So all that investment gone, right? And how many people have made it and they are still struggling on drugs because they are not prepared for life. And just the trauma that they go through in these journeys is enough to mentally disturb them, because human beings, we all deal with some type of trauma, right? Whether it's you were abused as a child, beaten, or whatever, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be successful in life, but that trauma is always going to be there. Every time you think of it, I say, oh man, I remember when my dad used to beat me, or when my mom used to beat me, and blah, blah. These are all traumas, and they have psychological effects. So imagine the fear that some of these kids have when they're in those boats, like the not knowing what's going to happen. These are all psychologically taxing, right? So you have to deal with this trauma, barely escaping death. You get to Italy, there's no therapy, there's nothing that's going to help you overcome that psychological trauma. And now you find yourself in a different society. Totally different from and different language, different culture, and you have to adapt to that, right? There'll be a few that will be successful. But we all know how many of our youths are in Germany. I went to Germany, I went to Sweden, and I saw some of these Gambians at the parks, right? They are just there. They just wake up and they go to the park. All day at the park. What are you going to achieve? You are in Germany, but, right? What is changing? Nothing. You get a few euros, you're not allowed to work. That's why most of them turn to criminality, right? Because they are told, okay, you put your process in for asylum, you're just supposed to stay in this area, in this confined area. But to survive, they have to now try to escape out of that area, go do some criminal activity, luckily return without them knowing. So that becomes your means of survival, right? So that's why they are massively being deported. And we say, oh, they should not be deported, right? And for Gambians, we want to guide our borders and say other people cannot come here and cause crimes. They should be deported if they do, right? So other people have the same right to do that. If Gambians go there and they cause crimes, they should be able to deter, because they're breaking their laws. If anybody comes to Gambia as a foreigner, you break it, we quickly say, oh, deport them, send them back. The Gambian is the first person to say, oh, you, Ebrima, because your parents come from Sierra Leone, you are not Gambian. Right? We are always saying that to each other.
Yes.
Right? But then we want other people to accept our Gambians that are there committing crime. So even if you're not here committing crime, let's say you're vying for an office, and they find out that your grandfather came from Sierra Leone, and maybe they don't want you to represent, or they don't like the party that you're representing. they start questioning your Gambianness,
Yes. Yeah.
right? So unless we come together as a people and unite as one, this entertainment thing, right? People are wasting their time fighting over artists, losing friendship, and all this nonsense.
Yeah.
What is that going to gain us? Right? It is only the artists that are making money. And if these artists make money, what do we see them doing? Buying cars, building their mansions, and people are just, oh, this fighting over this. When we don't have a vision for the country, we're never innovative. We don't manufacture anything. There's mangoes everywhere in Gambia. During mango season, they fall and they get rotten. Why can't we have processing centers? I go here, I buy dry mangoes that are packaged, that are imported from the Philippines. There are mangoes all over Gambia, right? Just get falling and getting rotten, and nobody is processing them to export. We do not manufacture anything. We only import and import and import, even down to the most basics, right? Because we do not see agriculture as something viable, because we want fast money. We want everything to happen yesterday. So we are in this competition. So if somebody goes and makes something in 2 years and comes and builds something, I want to do it in less than a year, because I want to surpass them, because I see them as my competition, right? So this is what's hindering us from coming together as a people, because we are always trying to compete each other as to who has more material things, right? Material things that you're going to die tomorrow. And then some of the material things, we just build it and don't even enjoy it. Some of people,
we don't. Most of the time, we don't enjoy it. Yes.
Yeah, you build it for other people, and then you have to maintain it. Other people live in it, and then now you have the burden of maintaining that place, right? And living your life wherever you are. And how are you going to do that, right? That's why some people venture into criminality, because they have to maintain what they've already showed people. Like, oh, I'm successful here in England. I'm doing this. I build a house for mine, for this and for that, and I send money to my family and that. So what if that job that you had or whatever you were doing comes to a halt, right? What are you going to do now to maintain that lifestyle that you've portrayed? So we are doing things at a very fast pace, trying to impress people and not let things happen gradually. So that's the issue we have. We need to get away from this entertainment thing. Like, there's a show every day in Gambia. Every other week, some new artist is, and they find the money to go to these shows, right? And you go to the municipalities, they're buying tickets and give it to the people to go attend these shows. But what are those municipalities doing for education in their municipalities, right? So they take money and they give it to the Kumpo, the Kankurangs and everything. What about education? What are they doing for education? How are they fostering education in their municipalities? Right? We are caught up with this entertainment thing because that's what people are going to see.
Yes.
Right? But that's where the lack of vision comes in, because we are not investing in education for tomorrow. We're only doing everything for today. Right? If they see me, oh, I support ST, I'm the mayor of this, people are going to elect me because I gave money to the thing, right? What about the schools that are in my area? What am I doing as a mayor to make sure that the schools in my area is producing students? And if they're not, how can I help? Right? What resources can I pump into these schools to be able to produce quality people? Because your education system today, it's going to reflect your economy tomorrow.
Yes, definitely.
Right? So if you don't invest in it, you have no economy tomorrow. And that's what's been happening to us. Right? We have not invested in education. That's why we don't have an economy anywhere. Right? There's no manufacturing. There's no innovation. There's nothing. We have the land. People would rather live wherever they are to go to the combos and be part of the hoopla and be able to go to show instead of having a farm in Gunjur and vegetables. What people eat is, people are always going to eat. So if you grow onions, people are always going to eat onions. Right? So whatever you grow to eat, people are always going to, because people have to eat to live.
Yeah.
Right? But we are always focused on all these material things. So farming is something looked down on. Like, people frowned upon farming. Right? Everybody wants to get away from it. If I have 150,000 as a youth in Gambia, you can invest that in a farm. Within your first harvest, you're going to double your money. So
and land is free. Places like Gunjur, until now, land, most of the people, indigenous people, their lands are free. They're just selling them, or they're just exchanging them with an old car from UK.
Especially if your family already has a land in Gunjur.
Yes.
Right? So why are you taking that money to risk your life to go? All you have to do is go buy seeds and maybe get a borehole and blah blah and start farming. You double your money, and if the opportunity comes for you to travel at some point, then you do that, right? But people are leaving Gambia. They don't even have enough money to travel, so they go to some place. They just have enough money to go to maybe to Senegal, or they go to Mauritania, and then they start calling for people to send them money for the next leg of the journey. Right? So why are you even getting into something that you cannot even finance in the first place? And we made this back way thing because we don't take things seriously. We joke about these things, certain things, and we try to until it becomes problematic. And for me, and I will use this semester thing as an example. We've been joking about semester this, semester that, and now it has become problematic. Semesters are coming there, lying to women, getting them pregnant, and all this I knew it was going to come. That's why I never bought into the idea of this semester thing. Right? Just because you left Gambia doesn't make you better than anybody else.
No,
right? So, but we have come to believe that anybody that lives outside, if they visit, we have to treat them like kings. Just because some of them are living in containers.
Oh yeah, yes, definitely.
Yeah, right?
Definitely.
So,
yes.
But we have allowed everybody to live this deceptive life, and we celebrate that. Right? We come to like people are struggling. When I was going to my last trip in Gambia, I was in a plane with some backway boys from Italy. We met in Istanbul and going back to Gambia. So I'm sitting there, we're waiting, and I'm hearing their conversation because they're talking in local languages, either Mandinka or Wolof. But their entire thinking about their holidays is about what girl they're going to chase, what clothes they're going to wear when they get there, blah, 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 blah. All these nonsensical things, because that is what everybody is talking about. So everybody has bought into this. So their entire holiday is just for that. Nothing else, nothing meaningful. Because they say, it was like, last year I went on Tobaski and man, I chased this girl, blah, 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 blah. So their entire thing, because we have made it so, and our medias have now started promoting that.
Yeah.
Right? So we are the people that are basically destroying our own culture just because of views and likes. And the media is fully participating in that as well. So anybody that comes, so you interview them saying, you interview people that have something meaningful to contribute to society. Because that's the message that you want out there. You don't want any nonsense message, because media is very powerful. It shapes the mindset of the people. Right? So if the media is putting this out, you are teaching everybody else that, this is the cool thing to do. Right? But if you're bringing people that are doing something meaningful, that is improving lives, then you change the mindset of people.
Definitely.
Because that's what they're going to see. Right? So what the media puts out there is very important. So the mindset, again, that's what we need to try to get out from. And unless we have this conversation and realize that this is what we're doing, we cannot change that mindset. We have to talk about it. And that's why I'm very critical in our ways, because sometimes they, you don't say anything positive about Gambia, blah, blah, blah. No, that's not the case. If something is already positive and going, fine. But we have a lot of issues that needs to be discussed, and every genuine Gambian will agree to that. Right? I am not talking about anything I say about Gambia. It's because it needs to be talked about. You may say I should not have said it, but you cannot tell me that I'm lying. It doesn't exist, right? So unless we reflect on some of these issues, because any society that doesn't reflect is doomed. We have to reflect on these issues and see how we are going to solve it. Because Americans do talk about the bad things that Americans do. That doesn't make them less patriotic, because they are talking about the evil things that America do. So we have to be honest, and I think honesty is the main problem why we are struggling.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brother Ndow. Baro Toure Sao says, absolutely true. In the West, politicians have a track record of leading in various capacities and demonstrating great leadership skills before progressing to higher office.
Yeah.
This is very, very important. Usman Toure and says very, very educative program. Mr. Ndow, what you've said, I agree, completely agree on it anyway. And that's why we bring people like you, not for the sake of bringing, because this is we do our works and we are doing this free and charity. Anytime we have time, we want to bring people here who will educate people, and you're doing that in different ways. But some people are not on Facebook, or sometimes we make this into audios and share it all over the place, so that we can have these conversations, and no, it's not about politics, it's not about tribalism, because we are all connected one way or the other. Somebody somewhere's agenda, because of that, he brought all these tribalisms and nonsense things, and sometimes you get a same when you see people, face to face, and the people that you are yes, you can sit in the corner here in your comfort and say all kind of things. And tomorrow when you see somebody in that carnival on the Gambia, you get a same, you want to run away, because you don't want to meet them, so because they are not good. And Mr. Ndow, another thing is, you talk about the media, their role and all those things. But I think I gleaned that, you want to be a journalist when you were young. What happened to your ambition, your childhood ambition to be a journalist? And it's a fast way to get money, because, over 40 million is if you want to be a PA man anyway. I realized that, you said, your childhood ambition is to be a journalist. So, but 40 million and 15 million also, they had 15 million, the media house, the grant that was given to them before, and you say no wonder Gambians has more journalists than the US, and be a journalist today and get fat tomorrow. You said I have been slim my entire life and it's time to get fat. But it's just unbelievable. With all this, the health system is catastrophic. I have a sister, a family member who got sick not long ago, and they had to go to Demban, and then Demban, these women, their husbands or whoever they went with is inside, but they are sleeping outside in the open. But the most shocking thing is, if your patient that you came with, if you want to go to toilet, they come out and ask, Mr. Ebrima, who is Mr. Ebrima? It's me. Come and take your person to the toilet. Yes. You are not trained. Those people are in a critical condition, and you have to walk that individual outside to go to the toilet, not anywhere else. Anything that they need, if you want to change, if you privacy, they will come and call you outside, even if you are sleeping, to come and tell you, come and deal with your patient. The nurses, the midwives, you ask, what is their role now? So this is how catastrophic Gambian situation is. So for somebody to take $40 million, over $40 million within a year or within 2-3 years, if you add that to the 15 million grant, that's about nearly 55 million. Giving those to the individual to promote somebody's agenda. This thing is so crazy. Gambians don't take this thing seriously. If it is another place, Gambians will come out because of what is happening there. Mr. Ndow, what informed this? If you have leaders with all these things that are happening, they didn't think about that. But that comes to what you said, leaders have to have empathy.
Empathy, yes.
Yes, because if not, they can do these things lavishly and easily, and they didn't know that they have done anything wrong. But one should ask, what are those media houses who are accepting this? And we are talking about corruptions, and we are talking about everything. We are talking about bribery and all those things. These are people who went out. Some of them are educated and all those things, and they are getting this. Quickly said light on this for us. What do you think about this? Because you mentioned this, you should have. I think you found it so ridiculous to the extent that you came out with this. What's your take on it?
Well, first, I mean, it's unethical, and maybe even borderline illegal, to do such, because again, it goes back to leadership being about them, right? They are only focused on trying to win the next election instead of having a vision that's going to inspire the people. So it's always about them. They've been getting money, there's corruption and all these things. So this is basically an investment, right? So that they could stay in power and be more corrupt, right? And then the process, well, because the media houses, they are private. You can understand that, say, hey, I'm a private company. If somebody wants to hire me so they can base their argument on that, right? But it is the government's responsibility, because they are taking taxpayers' money, right? And investing it into private media houses to promote their agenda. But what is even this agenda that they want to promote? Because everything we have been seeing is corruption, right? The OIC thingy, it's not the government who's building it. We were giving money to build it, and look at the project. What we were shown in the initial state as the prototype of what, and you look at that and you look at the road we have, are completely different things. They told us it was going to be 3 lanes or 4 lanes or something, and it was going to have this and that and the other. Compare that to what we see now. They didn't put any thought. It's just one straight talal. They didn't think about anything like people need to get to the other side. Because when you have projects like this, especially, this was our chance to build a nice highway that's going to last us for the next 50, 75 years. I live here. The Golden Gate Bridge was built almost 80, 90, 100 years ago, when there was less technology. The bridge is still standing. So what about now, when there is all this technology and all this innovation? This was our chance to build the best road in Gambia that's going to sustain us for the next, God knows how long. I've never, even with all this talk about the OIC, I have not heard a maintenance plan.
No.
Zero. They just want to build it, and people come and clap, they open the road. The next thing you see, potholes here, stop breaking down. Even now, they made the light poles so high. How are they going to change the bulb? Yes. The bulbs are even getting dirty and getting dusty, and it's dim. How are you going to change the bulb? It's so slim and tall.
Yes.
The design is all flawed. When you build a freeway like that and it's going through a residential area, because some of there are residential areas on the side, you put stoplights at every maybe 2 miles. And at that stop sign, you give people the chance to be able to make a U-turn to get to the other side if you're not able to do exits because of the landscape, people. Because if you, like here, and every so often miles, they put an exit, and that exit can lead you to the other side, and then you can enter the freeway from the other side, right? So they could have put like traffic lights at every 2 miles, and what would that avoid? It would almost add the unnecessary speeding, right? Because you control the flow of traffic, because at every 2 miles, there will be a light to stop, and then you allow people to go. Those who want to turn will allow them to turn and get to the other side and, make their way. But if you build it one straight, now you have people with their SUVs climbing the thing on the other side, and the barrier, you have to protect it to make sure that animals don't come and just cross on the other side. And people cannot just cross on the other side, because that's dangerous.
Yes.
Right? And then you have to think about, because you have to think about the pedestrians. You have to think about the people that are going to need to get to the other side by putting, and then you have to control the flow of traffic. There's accident on that thing every damn day, because people have nowhere to turn, and they see that it's open and they just keep speeding because there's no light. They know that there's no light coming up, so they can speed all they want. But if I know that in the next 2 miles there's going to be a light, I'm going to control my speed, right? But none of that is being thought about. We just want to, and if people are celebrating this road. I live here, and I see roads being built, and I see how it's being built and the quality of these roads. So I'm not going to sit here and lie to myself and say, oh, the road is Gambia, it's good, it's good, and celebrate that. Why should I?
No.
Just because I'm Gambian and I want to be patriotic, I should lie to myself. And this is what we have going on. Like, because of our political leaning, the people that support NPP are saying, oh, Barrow brought this road and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, they said Dr. Barrow. Dr. Barrow, Dr. Barrow is working. He's
Yeah,
changing Gambia.
but,
Yes.
right. But so it is this dishonesty. And just, we know the standard. People have traveled that are working in the government. They see how roads are being built outside.
Yeah.
Why don't they want the same for us?
Definitely.
Why do they think this is what we deserve? Right? Because their pockets are more important than anything else. So that's why every Gambian is struggling and making noise to be in a leadership role. Right? They leave everything here and run to Gambia because sometimes nothing is working for them here. They run to Gambia and get a little position, and now they start kofanging. And here, nobody is going to celebrate you for nothing.
No, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
Because the people are conscious. They know that you're working for the people. They're not going to be following you and clapping you.
No.
But everybody wants them people to massage their ego. So they run home, get a little position, and start kufanging and talking about, oh, Gambia is nice and blah, blah. But they know for a fact that it's about them and not about the people. So it is that dishonesty that's just kind of permeates the entire society. Right? So if every time you deal with people at every level, you're going to encounter some dishonesty, somebody trying to cheat you here, and it has become a norm because people have to survive, because nothing else is working, and our leaders have made it that way, and we have made it that way as the people by clapping for these leaders that have not really produced anything in all the time that we've been independent. Right? But when we are being colonized, everything was ticked up.
Yes.
Streets were clean,
education standard was good.
Right? Right? Because we respected our colonizers more. They used to inspect Banjul. They would come and inspect your compound, your private compound. They would inspect to make sure that everything is sanitized. Right? And they played along. They respected that. Right? Because we believe that the white people knew better, and whatever they say was right, and we followed that. But once they left, right, the nepotism started, the corruption started. If I'm working for, let's say, GUC at the time, right, I'm gonna read every meter and skip my family compound, right? So we started abusing the system, and everything failed. So because we seek power to try to control others instead of advancing our people and our protecting our dignity. Like Israel is able to do whatever they are doing because of unity.
Yes.
Right? Everywhere there are Jews around this world, they are united.
They're very, very united.
We can disagree and say, how are they allowed to do this and blah, blah, they are getting away with murder and stuff, because of they are united. So they are seeking power in that sense, right? India right now, they are seeking power in the technological front. Everywhere you go, Indians, you go to Google, you go to Microsoft, all these places are headed by Indians, right? That's how they are seeking power, by moving something significant, something that's going to move humanity and give them leverage. China, they're seeking economic power around the world. They came to Gunjur. We are sleeping, just like you said. They took over that land. They are mining power. We cannot do anything about it because they are seeking economic power. But what do we seek? Individual power, just to control the next guy. Right? So that's where, so if the mindset does not change about us as the people, China, they have the different factions just like us. You know how we have Mandinka? They have all these different ethnic groups. But do you see them fighting and suppressing each other? Right? They are united as a country, and their unity is based on their economic growth. And they are exporting Chinese everywhere else to be part of that economic growth. And basically, it's almost a form of soft imperialism. Right? To have economic power. They're not doing the military imperialism like Europe did and everything else when they came to Africa. right? They are coming and telling us, hey, we want to work with you. We're going to do this. We're going to build your roads, but in turn, we want this in exchange. Our leaders don't even consult the people. They just go ahead and just do whatever they want to do just because they want a cut. So just because of their self-interest, now it has become a detriment to the people. So this is the type of leaders that we have and we celebrate. So how are we? We have to know as Gambians, Gambians are everywhere. Personally, like on an individual basis, you'll find a Gambian everywhere doing well everywhere. But collectively, we are weak because we are always focused about our individual success. Just so that I can show the next guy, nte bamale futite bamati. You know what I mean? Right? And why should a woman say for you?
Exactly. Anytime people brought these things up, I was saying we are all rushing to a country that sometimes is men marry men, women marry women, all those things, and they are getting more and more successful to the extent that nearly over 200 people of our youth die from Gunjur just accessing back.
Right? Yeah.
We are selling our lands and everything just to come to a place who are quote unquote going to hellfire. They're not Julit and all those things and many other things. And now you're taking my mother suffered in that relationship to the extent that that's why I'm good. So it doesn't make sense. But go ahead, Mr. Ndow. I think I'm going to close this and leave you to go because you just from for the people by the people. So and definitely you still Usman Toure said thank you, Mr. Ndow. You are raising a very, very important issues here. Mr. Ndow, one last thing, these are things that many Gambians are very, very scared to raise, to talk or to delve into, that the religion and politics. We are seeing gradually the rising of no religion, but but people who are ideological interests getting into our politics, which they can. If they want, they can build political parties and all those things. But, to come and say, like we want to repeal the child marriage law, the FGM. But the thing is, anybody who contradicts, people insult you, people threaten you, and all those things, And a few days ago, I was listening to Yankuba at UDP Bantaba with Sehu Sedili, and he was saying the amount of threat to his life, people are threatening him to kill him. Some people will call his people.
Which Yankuba is this?
Yankuba Dabo, He said there was a time they called part of his family and, hey, we kill him. We kill Yankuba, and all those things. That shocked me. But we see these things, people come in and taking control and telling people, if we are not these, calling everybody who is not a Muslim, kufar and all those things. Even though these are established religion, which are God's religion, you might disagree or not, but Christianity, Judaism, and all those things. But at the end of the day, the harmony in the Gambia, because these are our families, these are our people, repealing the FDM law. We can discuss these things, but no, if you raise it, anybody else, you are being threatened or you are going to hellfire and all those things, and repealing the child. And the government seems to be intimidated. The politicians seems to be very, very intimidated. The media seems to be very, very intimidated to talk about issues that affect us as a people. So what and you raise this, what can you shed more light on this so that we are not scared to talk about issues that affect us as a people, that's gonna go against our stability as a people? And after that, we will round this program off. And
it goes back to saying that I said earlier that we are taught what to think and not how to think, and that's why we are always scared to question anything, especially when it comes to faith, right? Because faith is kind of like unquestionable. You can't really question it because somebody just believes in something for whatever reason. So they don't need evidence. You don't need evidence when it comes to faith, right? You just basically said, oh, the scripture said this and what. And sometimes in Islam, it's always, or the Bible is always about interpretation, right? So if you look at the Quran or any other holy book, you can tell that it was interpreted and written over the years by men, because everything tends to favor men, right? They say, if you die, you go to Janneh, you're gonna get, what is 70 virgins or whatever,
Yes.
right?
That's men. Yes.
That's men. So what is the reward for women? Nobody talks about that, right? And why always sex? What do you need 70 virgins for? Right? Why always sex is this reward? We are always obsessed about controlling women and their sexuality. That's the reason why we take them and cut the thing, because they say so that they don't go out and be promiscuous. So everything is about men and our desires and our pleasures. Right? But if you question that, oh, you're gonna go to hell. You know, with this Imam Fati thing, how many people send me message telling me I need to be careful, I'm gonna go to hell if they own God.
Oh, like, they are threatening you too.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, one time I was blocked by Facebook for 30 days because some malnourished supporter of Imam Fati said that he was going to beat me when I go to Gambia. So I responded saying that, okay, when I come to Gambia, I will call you and messenger, we'll meet on the beach, I will buy you lunch, and then I'm going to beat you, and then I'll pay your medical bills. So they saw that as violence, and then they kicked me out for 30 days. But I get these messages all the time saying me, why should I question the Imam? You know, some people call me and tell me, oh, I'm not a Muslim, but who are you to tell me what I am and what I am not? And they think that they're the only ones with deen or know the deen. So they think they have monopoly over Islam or they own it. So, but we should not be shy away, because this is about us and about a people. We cannot let a little group of people push their will on us and dictate us. They do not own heaven. And you know, people that are claiming to be religious and protecting the deen, look at their character, some of them, right? That's how you can tell. I don't care about the deen. I'll rather deal with somebody that doesn't believe in God, because for me, that's between them and God. It has nothing to do with me. I would rather deal with somebody who is honest and has good character and who has integrity. Their belief in God doesn't matter to me, because that's none of my business. Rather than deal with somebody who claims to be Muslim, protecting the deen, but is corrupt, you know, you deal with them. The minute you start dealing with them when it comes to financial, you'll know that they start cutting corners or stealing from you or whatever. I do not respect anybody because of their religion. I respect people because of their character. Because between people, that's between people. God has nothing to do with that, right? If Imam Fati comes out and says some things that I personally don't believe, that I have all rights to challenge him. Right? He's not the authority. He is not a messiah. He's just an imam, right? And he needs to play the role of imam, right? You cannot attack people and insult them and say you're going to danker them just because they have a different view of what you're trying to preach. You're going after all other Muslims, insulting them, claiming that they are not Muslims. Who are you, right, to qualify somebody as a Muslim or not? That's God's role. Just preach your belief and leave it at that. You cannot force it down on, and that's why they're having problems, because they want to be violent, they want to be aggressive, right? Insulting people. That's not how you convince people. That's how you push people away, right? So religion, we are focused on this religion and this. Who wants to marry a 13-year-old anyways? And sometimes they give the argument that, oh, you're in the United States, you know, they're letting 15-year-old get married or whatever. If any state here that is letting 15-year-old married, they are marrying somebody close to their age, maybe 13, 14 or 15. If they're 15, maybe a 15-year-old and a 17-year-old. They're not letting some 65-year-old come and marry a 13-year-old girl, right? And just the thought of that, right? So why would you fight to repeal that?
Definitely.
Right? So it tells you on how they view women. And for me, it is so problematic and even maybe a psychological issue. right? Because I don't think any religion is that cruel, right? So why is it always about suppressing women, denying them education? Because that's what you're doing when you go marry a 13-year-old, right? So they become a mother at 14 or 15.
And less than 5 years they will be divorced with all the kids.
That's what I'm saying.
And
right?
they will plunge into poverty, and
poverty, no education,
and
nothing.
all
There's
those
problem,
things,
and then you move on to marry another 13-year-old.
Yes, and
right?
The gender-based violence against women,
right?
Which is downplayed. The government
as
rapists are being released from prison and all those
yes,
things.
yes.
We should talk about these things more.
Yeah, we should talk about these things. But I'm not scared of, because for me, I know that they don't have. So regardless of who tells me I'm going to go to hell, I'm not going to go to hell, I care less. So the other day, somebody told me that I was going to go to hell and blah, blah. I said, okay, that's fine. I said, I know you're going to be the the hotels, what they call it, room service, the people that clean the rooms, and
yes,
whatever they call, housekeeping.
Yes.
Right. So I said, that's fine, because I know you're going to be part of the housekeeping team at hell. So just make sure you keep my room clean before I get there. So I flipped the script on them, because we should not be scared to challenge these people. And if we let them intimidate us, that is going to force our society. We're even going to be regressing more, right? We do not own the religion. Africans, Islam came to Africa, right?
Yes.
Right? So are you telling me that before Islam came to Africa or to Gambia, in that region, everybody else that had lived there before that is going to go to hell? Because
we cannot predict God. We are all, we don't know what he's doing in his office and all those things. We are only looking here.
So just believe what you believe in.
Yes.
Live and this thing going after Christians, saying that, oh, the Muslims are the majority, the Christians did this and they manipulate this, that's why we are secular. Just do your thing. Lakum dinikum waliya din. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Right? So they know it, but they do not want to exercise that lakum dinikum waliya din. And they are going after people, like going after the Ahmadiyya, claiming they are not Muslims, going after this, claiming they are not Muslims, just because they do not submit to your ideology. Right? That's almost like terrorism, right? Because there is psychological terrorism as well, right? Terrorism is not always about bombing, blah, blah, blah. It's about intimidating people and terrorizing them, because you can terrorize people psychologically. And that's what they are doing. And I'm not going to allow them. They have no power over me. Why should I allow them to terrorize me, right? If they want to come on a debate, fine, let's debate and we share and we learn from each other. But I'm not going to allow you to insult me, thinking insulting me, it's what's going to make me relent, right? In fact, if you insult me, I'm going to be almost inspired, because they send me a message like, I need to be careful. Imam is a man of God, it's a man of knowledge, blah, blah. I said, who told you that a man of knowledge doesn't get challenged?
No, he does. Yes.
Yeah.
Some of them were killed. The prophets were killed.
Right.
And people were challenged, and even God, all the time, is very, very patient. People doing all kind of stuff here. But the whole issue is, we should not victimize. Nobody should stand.
Right. And the government should take a stand. And that's where the government comes, because again, it is all about them. So and the political parties, they are always looking to go into office or to remain into office. That there's no long term. They do not care about the society, and they see all these things going on. Nobody is coming to condemn it, right? If all the big parties, including the government, came out and condemned Imam Fati and say, hey, look, we see what you are doing. This is not about us. Practice your religion and leave us alone. We are not going to change your laws, and imams should stay in your place. When did imams start changing laws? Talking about, oh, the people only scared of the whip, they do not scared of. Who are you to whip anybody? Right? We are not a Sharia country, and they just need to respect that. If they want a Sharia country, let them go find land somewhere and they do their Sharia thing and leave us alone. And we need to be challenging and head on. We cannot shy away from these things. The government needs to come out and take a position. All these opposition parties need to come out and take a position. That is, in fact, if they believe that we are a secular country, right? So you cannot, all this, because if you take government, right, Imam Fati is going to still be here. How are you going to deal with that? You need to address it now, even before you take government, and say, this is what we stand. And if we were to be in the government today, this is what we will do to try to nip this thing in the bud. Our politicians are not brave. They do not have backbone. They are always looking to get into office to satisfy this office thing that everybody is looking just to be a leader, just for self, right? So that's why they are tiptoeing around issues. They don't want to address anything because they think that it's going to hurt them in the polls, and people, or Imam Fati is going to campaign from you. I do not care. The truth is the truth, right? If you stand on the truth, there's nothing Imam Fati can do to you. He's promising to danka everybody. Who are you to danka anybody?
Yeah, danka anyway. At the end of the day, it is us that should protect every citizen in that country.
Yes, and that's the role of government.
Including our women, our sisters and mothers. They are the victims there. We deny them from education. They are suffering. If you see the poverty statistics, women are more poor. They are less educated. They are even religiously, they are less educated until things are just changing just now. And then to suppress them more and think that, they have to wait until the next war. I don't know how that's going to benefit us. All of us are having girls. We are having more women now in the country than men. And what we need to do is to support each other, not to suppress them, not to do things medically that's going to have an impact in them. And we don't have to create a quantity to the extent that we can abuse and abuse them anytime we want. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndow. You've been so great. You've been from one platform to the other. You're online, and the viewers, we are honored. And for you to dignify us with your presence here, as always. Anytime you come, we discuss issues that are going to challenge our people to critically think and see the country, not individuals, not religion, no faction, no political party. What we need is a better Gambia. When we have better Gambia, things will fall in line for all of us. Please, Gambians, let's think critically. Let's not support for the sake of support or family or political party or tribe. Let's support because we support the country. Once we don't have the better Gambia that we all want, our people are going to be dying. They're going to be second-class citizens in other people's country, or they are going to be in the fringes of higher societies in other places. So once again, thank you, brother. As always, we will get to. I've ordered your book, the new book.
And the new book,
finish it. We will bring you here.
For sure.
Hopefully. But it will come this week, and I will read it, and I will let you know.
Thank you. Yeah.
We can discuss that book again.
Yeah, and I think for me that's why I'm focusing on the next generation, because these are the ideas that we need to be focusing on, trying to prepare the next generation. Because and at the end of this book, the new one, I have maybe 10 questions, because you want to start allowing kids to be able to think about things and critically and think for themselves and come up with their own conclusions. So the first one, it was like multiple choice questions, but this one is open questions. You ask the kid and let them come up with their own answer. Let them, see what their thinking is. You allow them to think. You allow to that mind to explore. So instead of like telling them, A, B, C, and then they just choose A or B. You want them the answer to come out based on the information that was available to them and is relevant to the question.
Yes, so, not to come and we pour them in their neck. They cram everything and they regurgitate. All the time, and we clap and all those things. They are not thinking out of.
Right. So you want to make sure that they understand what they're reading and see how they are going to interpret it. So each answer might be different because of their perspective and how they see it. So that's how you think critical thinking. You allow people to be able to explore and think and say, okay, this is what I see, and say, oh, no, I see it this way and this way. So that's what's going to move a society, right? Critical thinking, you start questioning things. There are lots of things that in society have been done this barbaric way, right? So if we did not, as people, did never question those type of things, they will still be going on. We questioned it and say, hey, this was wrong. The Romans used to get up and go grab somebody's gun and they colonize you and they come bomb. But after a point, humanity said, okay, let's think about this thing. Is this the right thing to do? Then we start creating laws to protect people, right? Because we have to reflect on things and how they are going and what we can do to change it in advanced society. So that's where human knowledge comes in. Every time we gain knowledge, we refine the system to better suit us. And every generation is different because things change, right? There was in the 80s, there was no digital thing, right? So, but now with all this digital tool coming and it's allowing people to commit crimes, online or whatever, what is humanity doing? We are exploring and creating new laws to protect people, right? So that's what every generation is different. So we are now talking about Gambian issues, regardless of where we are, because we have these platforms. That wasn't the case during the Jawara time.
Yes.
So we have more access to information now than then, right? So now they cannot hide anything from us because we see everything that they're doing, because we see their press conferences, we see them in meetings, and some of the things are happening live. So we're seeing it live and direct. It's not like it happened 10 years later and somebody wrote about it in a book and then 2 years later I read it. No, I saw it live when it was happening. So I'm informed in real time. So that's what I mean. When society changes, we need to change to adapt. And that's what we're not doing. We just want to be, it's our culture. We are not the only ones with culture.
No.
The Chinese have culture that is thousands of years old and it is documented.
Yes, it's right? All documented. And some of the things we are claiming as our culture are not even our culture, Exactly, what we know yesterday and what the young people know today is not our culture. Mr. Ndow is the author of the Mischievous Mosquito of Banjul, and another one, The Move, Slouching Towards Bakau. Please go and get these books. We need to come together as one, and that means supporting our own. Yeah. Because what Mr. Ndow is doing on the ground in terms of charity work, in helping people, we cannot tabulate all those things here. Anything that he has will go to Gambia, and who that's going to affect, we don't know. So please go and get this book. They are fascinating books, You relate to the book, because if you read it, you see yourself in the books, I am a victim of malaria. I get so sick to the extent that, my people think I have a doma or all the genes or what they have, following me and all those, because I got sick so much, to the extent that it is unbelievable. And this will tell you a lot. And you can read this with your kids and they will enjoy and they will see themselves in it. And you allow them to analyze these things. So please get this book. They
can also get it on my website, which is
on his website, preferably. I think I think share the website with me. We will share it in Gunjur online.
Yes.
So that other people can go directly instead of going to Amazon. They can go to you directly and buy it in the. Thank you so much, brother. And it's a pleasure to have you. And greetings to Abubakar. He's the producer of the program.
Oh yeah, thank you. He did a good job.
He did a fantastic job. But thank you so much, and all our viewers. Greetings to you. Greetings to you, Mr. Ndow. See you again. Say hi to family.
Thank you.
If you are wondering where to stay in the Gambia, you are in the right place, Daikunda Village. 8-minute drive to Gunjur Sandwich. We have luxurious rooms for rental, fully furnished, swimming pools, restaurants, scissors, housekeeping, drinks and waters available, security protections, barbecues, equipment, photo service, JBL wireless Bluetooth, official parties and birthday parties. For more info, contact Daikunda Village. And if you love this video, please don't forget to subscribe my YouTube channel, Bafri Diata.